to be dealing specifically with the Instagram story. If you are deciding to work in Illustrator from the start for your story, you can go ahead and use the template right here. Most likely you are not. You're going to be starting in Photoshop and then maybe eventually adding some text. So I'm going to walk you through as if I'm starting on the Photoshop path. So I'm going to download my Instagram file, which I have right here. And you'll notice I also have my mood board open at the same time because I want to have that as a reference. So not only was this for a presentation, but now you have it to look at so that you can remember what kinds of things you chose for your project. So for my Instagram story, I'm not going to be adding text. I'm just going to simply add a picture with a little bit of editing, and that's going to serve as my story. We are going to be adding the icon to your user icon to the mockup, so you don't have to do that right now inside of the Instagram story. So because I'm taking the background away from my image, I'm going to double click on it from my library, grab my selection tool, and I'm going to select subject. I have a little bit of editing to do. I want to take out some of the background. So I'm just going to be careful to take those out. And then I'm going to carry her over into my template and lay her down. Now her picture's too big, so I'm going to transform it and fit it to the size that I want. All right, now because there's a little bit of background showing, I'm going to make a layer that's behind her with a color, and I want to try to use maybe one of the colors that I have from my mock-up. So I've got my eyedropper. I'm putting it, I hold the letter I down once, or click on it, grab the color, it goes to my swatches. I'm going to go back to my template. My paint bucket is actually underneath the gradient tool, and I'm just going to click. So I've got a little bit of blue. Okay, that's all I'm doing for my Instagram story. Now, if you're working with multiple photos, then you would go ahead and design this using all the selection tools that you know of. And if I am going to add text to this, which you can totally do, you are going to save this. I would save it with your name attached to the file so that you always have the original template. I personally have a desktop folder where I'm keeping all of my designs. And then I'm going to export this as a PNG. I'm going to have to go through this process no matter whether I'm using text or not, because I need to use this PNG for my mock-up at the end of the project. Okay, so at this point, I would turn in my PNG to Canvas for this project and get credit for that. But if and only if you are going to add text to your Instagram story, you are going to have to download the Illustrator file, which I have made to the right size, and then you would place your PNG version of your project. I'm not sure if that's doing that because it's not saved. Let me go back to Photoshop and resave it. It should highlight and be able to go into Illustrator. So let's see what's causing that problem. Let me close this real quick. I'm going to do File, Place. I'm not really sure why that's doing that. It should be able to go right into Illustrator. So you know why? It was because it was still saving, so it just needed a minute. I was going a little too fast for the computer. So here I have my PNG, and then I can stretch it all the way to the red. Remember, just like our bookmarks, we went all the way to the red edge and down. And then you can go into your layers and you can lock it. And then you could add an additional layer That's the name of the text you're going to use. And when you lay out your text, make sure you're drawing text boxes and you're staying away from the inside blue line. This is your area where you want to be careful not to go out of. We did this with our bookmarks. It's the same thing. That way, just in case this gets printed, even though it's social media, it could still get printed for a campaign or a package. You want to make sure to have it protected so that it stays there. Okay, after I add my text in Illustrator and I've got my design exactly the way I want, I will file Save As, make sure that I have an Illustrator version with my name on it, and then you would export it as a ping and turn that ping into me on Canvas. So you are only turning in the final version of your Instagram story to Canvas. All right, if you have any questions, ask me, but that is how you do the Instagram story for your PNG assignment.